buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social side, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. My apologies, I'm a couple minutes late. My Skype wouldn't load. That was strange. I couldn't get my Skype to load up at all. So, anyways, we're here, and that's a good thing. So I take it we're live. I'll find out real smartly here. Yeah, we're live. That's good. Hey, Vincent, how are you? Computer's getting really freaked out on me. Anyways, it's running, so that's a good thing. Anyways, I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Game On, and you're listening live on UCY, and we're going to talk about a few things tonight. Before I get going here, though, I just want to say that after the show on Sunday, I went out to my sister's place out in the countryside. I got a really nice 50 acres out there overlooking the river, nice river valley running through their property, and had a real nice Thanksgiving dinner. And after dinner, we did some apple squeezing. They have a big apple juicer outside, and so there's only 2 grandchildren there this year. There's quite a few people sick around here. My sweet wife didn't come with me. She's suffering. My other sister didn't show up. She's suffering. So it wasn't, there was only probably about 10 of us there, but it was a beautiful dinner. And the kids got a big kick out of squeezing apple juice and out of the apple press. And so everybody went home with fresh squeezed apple juice, which was nice. Now, I was rooting around. Oh, if I can find it now. Where did that get to? Here it is. A good friend of mine, and some of my best friends I've never met in person yet, which kind of sucks. I hope one day that all those that work so freaking hard to bring, some sense of reality to the general public. I hope someday we can all gather together somewhere and have a great big barbecue, because so many of us have been beaten up and screwed with and dragged in and out of courts and anything to do to try to intimidate and basically shut us up, short of shooting us. And these are all really dedicated people. I mean, they're not backing down for nothing. Once you know the truth, once you have some knowledge and some wisdom, I don't know how anybody that has the knowledge that more and more people are gaining every day, I have no idea how they can possibly be intimidated and just like stare at the ground again like everything's normal. Nothing's normal, never been normal. So this is a fantastic time to be alive. It's a brilliant time to be alive, and people ought to embrace it, not hide from it. Anyways, Edward J. Robin, bond servant. Now he's out in Edmonton, Alberta, and he's been beat up for a lot of years. As far as I know, he's still driving without a driver's license out there. But he instead of using this free man nonsense, uses the Gospels, and realistically, that's probably where I'm headed to, because the preamble of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms makes no bones about it, and a preamble is basically everything else in that document must bind itself to the preamble. And the preamble of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is very specific, and it's only 17 words, and it states that the Charter is based on the principles and the supremacy of God and the rule of law. Well, the principles and supremacy of God stand before and above rule of law. And that's what Robin's been using for years. They beat him up a lot for it, even though that's the preamble. And that's the sad part of this. They pick and choose what they want. Now, how can you get to the rule of law? Like, how do you hopscotch over leapfrog over principles and supremacy of God to get over the rule of law. How do you do that? How do you just ignore the first two statements in the Charter? You know, and it goes on constantly with the American Constitution, everybody else's Constitution. It's a pick and choose kind of game they're playing. So anyways, I haven't talked to Robin for a while. I should get him on the show again. Haven't had him on the show for a while. He yells at me a lot for not getting agreements, as it says in the Bible, with my oppressors. Well, I don't feel like writing all that stuff out, to tell you the truth. And I don't see any reason I should have to. But I do know they don't want anything to do with it, okay? Because when I was talking to the Ministry of Justice, federal here in Canada, the senior counsel, which is a lawyer liar, couldn't even stay put. Although we talked for a while, when I started reading the preamble, she started dancing like a chicken on a hot plate, and she couldn't hang in there. She couldn't hang in there for me to read the preamble. She was freaking out and then hung up, and that's what we got to do. We got to stick it in their eye. Anyways, just before I came on air, I ran into, I was just rooting around Facebook, see what's cooking here. There's a lot of nonsense with the Canadian election, federal election, and it's you know, some of the stuff going on, it just makes me want to throw up. So I go in there now and try and hammer home the idea that, you know, you guys are just being fools, playing this political game. And I keep pointing out to them that Canada is, in fact, a corporation and, in fact, not a nation. And a lot of people are starting to get that, and that's what we do. It's like old George Bush, or young George Bush, when he was in that election town hall meeting. You know, he said he keeps throwing the propaganda out, right? And probably repeated 3-4 more times before he was done that night. You know, you got to get it into your brain, get the propaganda in there. So basically, we're the truth propagandists, I guess you might call us. But anyways, this is, I mean, Robin's always, and I am too. I mean, he makes videos constantly. You can just look up Edward J. Robin Bondservant. You'll get to his YouTube site, I believe. And he has just a ton of excellent videos that he's done over the years, and he ain't got no back down in him, and that's the whole point. You know, I said we got to get up on our moral high horses and ride, and refuse to get down off of them. Besides that, when we're up on our moral high horses, we stand above their amoral nonsense down on the ground. So you know, it just gives us a higher position. But anyways. He just put this little thing in on his Facebook page, and I'm just going to read it to you. And I know he's been tangling with the courts for years and years and years. He actually got a Crown prosecutor to back out of a case because he wanted a drug test on the prosecutor. And what he said was that I heard this guy's was a coke addict, this prosecutor, and he didn't want to be, you know, he didn't want to be up against a drug addict or a cokehead, so he requested a urine sample before they go to court, and amazingly. Maybe he was right, because that prosecutor backed right out of there in a hurry. Didn't want nothing to do with it. He wasn't going to put himself forward for a drug test. Anyways, Robin can be very serious, and Robin can be a whole hell of a lot of fun. So I'm just going to read this to you. And how it goes is, if you get sucked into one of their courts and don't know what to do to protect yourself, you might try the following exchange. Early in the proceedings, defendant, excuse me, Judge, I'm really confused about all this. Judge. What are you confused about? Defendant. Well, I don't recognize you, and I don't recognize that fellow over there, the prosecutor, and I don't recognize this proceeding. I don't understand any of this, which translates into I seem to be in a foreign jurisdiction that I don't consent to. However, I believe you could clear up my confusion if you would answer a simple yes or no question on and for the record. Judge, well, I will if I can. Defendant, sir, to the judge. You never call a judge, Your Honor. I very seldom even call him sir. That's showing some sort of respect for him, which I really don't have any. They're corporate judges, and they work for the corporation, and they're employees of the Queen, and therefore them just sitting on the bench puts them in a conflict of interest. So I try not to show them any respect without yelling at them too much. But anyways, defendant, sir, on and for the record, do you have authority over a flesh and blood man standing on the firm, dry soil of the land of the Creator? A yes or no answer, sir. After about 3 seconds of silence, which I believe I can predict, defendant, I take your silence as acquiescence to my presumption that you do not have such authority. Any business I have had here is now extinguished, therefore I shall depart. As to the judge getting forceful when an excellent question to ask him or her is, are you trying to force me to contract with you against my will? I'm betting, says Robin, that the judge will back off, as it is a felony in federal or state court to do so. It's called inducement into slavery. And we are all in slavery because we are all bound, and we all have a oath, whether you took the oath or not, of allegiance to the state or the Queen or whatever. So when they call you a citizen, they're calling you a subject, because citizen and subject is identical. And as a citizen, you are a subject, and subject is subservient to, and being subservient is in the position of a slave. And the beauty of their law and law is that no one can hold you in a state of servitude without your express consent. So, the last few times I've been in courts, it's getting rather comical, really. It's getting extremely comical. People are holding classes in the courthouse, explaining to people exactly what's going on in the court, and the fact it is a corporate court, and they just drag you there to feed off you. You haven't broken any law, because in order to break a law, you have to cause harm and you have to produce a victim. So these are the corporate bylaws, if you will, the rules and regulations of the corporation, of which you're being subjected to, okay? Because you were registered at your birth, versus in the old days, they recorded your birth, and then once the bankruptcies and that took place, well, they started registering you as an asset of the corporation, of which the corporation uses you to acquire loans. Brilliant little system. It's unlawful. It's illegal. It sucks. And I just want to, thank Robin for his continued efforts, and everyone else that is doing the same thing. Now, let me see here. Where did I see that? Oh, I got this off of the. I'm not going to get too deep into anything tonight, but this kind of makes me smile and laugh and cry all at the same time. And this is off the Weather Network. Now, I never go there, but every now and again my wife will check the weather and she'll see something really stupid. because the Weather Network, like any other media, is full bore into propagating all this global warming nonsense and climate change nonsense, and how humans have destroyed the planet. A human being, of course, an animal. So the story here, this was up a while ago. This is a map, no kidding, what the Earth would look like if humans never existed. And it says here, rhinos and elephants in Europe, Canada's subarctic teeming with large animals. It could have happened if mankind hadn't gotten away. That's finding of a new study published by the Aarhus University in Denmark. Good old Denmark, they sent the damn windmills over here and everything. And they're just busy little beavers over there. Little country, 5 million people, wreaking havoc all over the world. The researchers extrapolated the number of species of mammals weighing 45K or more in a non-human world, and compared it to the current distribution of the species of that size. According to them, here's how the Earth would look if humans had never arrived to reduce animal populations. And the map, the top map, is oh so colorful with all of these animals teeming over. And down below it says, and here's how Earth's mammal distribution looks today. And it's basically void, except some parts of Africa and the Rocky Mountains. Any real heavy terrain, I suppose, or jungle. They still have some animals in it, but comparatively speaking, it's void of animals. This is just more than nonsense. It's being fed to the children in the schools at the younger ages. That movie Ice Age was part of the propaganda. And it just continues on and on and on and on. And, it's basically sickening because the children, a child of 4 or 5 years old entering school, and before that, they're propagandized by the television sets they're set in front of probably most of the day when they're awake. And so they're already primed for the propaganda when they get to school. It's not something they don't recognize. By the time they get to school, they recognize from what they saw on TV. So it's just a continuation of the propaganda. So, it's our job as adults in that to try and straighten the kids out. Better still, you ought to be going to the school board hearings or school board meetings and getting in the faces of the school board and rough them up a little bit mentally. Anyways, here's another story on the same thing. It says here more than 2,000 bear sightings reported in Sudbury, Ontario. That's quite a few bears, I think. Let's look at this real quick. I don't know if that was on a Friday night, a Saturday, maybe bears all heading in for a drink. I don't know. This is of today, October 13th news. Bear sightings are way up in Sudbury, Ontario. On Monday, it was revealed the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestries received 2,200 sightings around the city and an additional 1,700 bear complaints, 4 times the amount of reports received last summer. Well, wait a minute. The story I just told you about says there's no animals left. No animals left hardly at all on the planet over 45K, which is about 100 pounds. Thereabouts. 100 pound or bigger animals. So that was probably maybe better part of a week ago that story came out. And now all of a sudden, holy crap, 2,200 bear sightings around the city and an additional 1,700 bear complaints. 4 times the amount of reports received last summer. This kind of reminds me of the story of the polar bear up north. And I have a story on there. If you go to CanadianTruths.wordpress.com and punch in polar bears, I suppose, in the search engine, you'll get the story. And the government, so-called government, up in Nunavik, was a little ticked off about all this, oh my God, the ice is melting and all the bears are dying nonsense. They just finally got sick of it and said that not only is there not less bears, there's more polar bears than they recall ever seeing. They're basically overrun with polar bears. And now here in Sudbury, we apparently are overrun with black bears. It says here the problem has become so pronounced that officials have set up a committee to deal with the black bears, also referred to as nuisance bears. The committee formed last month. So far, it has met 3 times, the Canadian Press reports. So I don't know. Is Sudbury going to, or the Ministry of Natural Resources, going to go out and whack the bears? They've really put restrictions on hunting seasons for bears and that. And obviously, the bears breed. And now what are they going to do? What are you going to do with all these bears? You're going to move everybody out of Sudbury down to Toronto and rewild Sudbury so the bears can free roam, as I like to call it? Or are you going to move the bears to where? I don't know. Farther north? I mean, you know, Sudbury is, I got to put this in perspective too. Now, Sudbury, there is no city called Sudbury anymore. Okay, it's called the Greater Sudbury Region, I believe is what it's called now. So they amalgamated huge swaths of wild areas, okay, and little wee towns and villages and that. So, you know, these bears could be spread out. They could be actually nowhere near the city. So, you know, they're probably just out in the bush where they always been and along the rivers and that. So it's difficult to, you know, really track down exactly where these bears are and how much of a problem they actually are. It says here, no bear-related injuries have been reported in Sudbury this year, but Councillor Ann Sizer, who is a member of the Bear Committee, says the large bear population doesn't come without its risks. You don't know what kind of a day the bear's having, Sizer tells the Canadian Press. That is so stupid. I mean, if it's having a toothache and it encounters somebody, it may not be real friendly. So why do I think that this committee might just strike up a dental plan for the bears to make sure that they're not wandering around in a bad mood with a toothache? Oh man, this is your city councils, right? Your global mayors, your Agenda 21 crowd. These people are insane. Anyways, according to Sizer, Sudbury received close to half of Ontario's complaints regarding nuisance bears this summer. Poor berry crop, part of the problem. Well, quit spraying the frickin' chemtrails so the berries can grow. That might help. Blueberry crops have been poor in parts of southern Ontario this year, forcing the bears to venture into the city to look for alternative food sources. Well, Sudbury is hardly in southern Ontario. Anyways, parts of Ontario are experiencing shortages of natural food sources for bears. Sudbury is experiencing berry crop shortage the MR says in a statement released in August. Human bear activity is directly related to the availability of natural foods. Given the current food situation, Sudbury is seeing an increase in reports of problem bears as bears search for alternative sources of food or a dentist. I put in the dentist part. Bear complaints are draining resources. Sudbury Staff Sergeant Craig Mackey tells the Canadian Free Press, police only dispatch officers when they feel public safety is at risk. Police have had to personally respond to bear complaints 500 times this year, using up 225 hours of police time. Well, you know, if the cop's sitting in the car on the side of the road waiting to ticket somebody for distracted driving or forgetting to put their seatbelt on, it's not like you're taking a cop away from something he's doing you could call actually useful in order to go up and see about a bear. Anyways, 8 bears had to be killed. Black bears typically start searching for a hibernation den in the winter, so officials are hoping the complaints will slow down in the weeks to come. Yeah. Now, here we go. We got us a polar bear story. Geez, I might just do all my shows off of the Weather Network. This is amazing. Apparently, all of those polar bears that drowned seem to be a problem all of a sudden. An increase. This is from October 20th, 2014. Okay, so that's last year. And so again, I read that story from the government people up in Nunavik about, I don't know what it is, about 4 years. Yeah, it was 2011. That's when I did the magazine. I put that story in it. So that's like 4 years ago. So at the same time, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, they're screaming bloody murder that the ice is melting and the polar bears are dying. Well, here's a story from last year. An increase in polar bear sightings in Avarat, Nunavik, has prompted changes to Halloween activities this year. The Hamlet recently met with the public to discuss alternatives to trick-or-treating, according to the CBC, the Communist Broadcasting Company, which is our major MSN news source here in Canada. It was decided to hold Halloween
selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back.